It's very wonderful to see you here, and welcome to our opera talk show with famous Nick Reveles. So we've created this space to continue to enjoy opera together. And certainly this is a place where you belong, and we are very, very happy to share our love for opera. So today we have, I think, 5 tenors in the house and 1 aria by Verdi from Rigoletto. And we were going to talk a little bit, we'll frame the aria. For you to know, Rigoletto was premiered in La Fenice in Venice in 1850. And we are about to listen Questa o Quella. This is the first aria in this opera, and I would just like to tell you what Questa o Quella means, per mi pari sono. And this is like, this one or the other one for me are the same. And he's talking about women, this character, the Duke. I'm sure Nick will talk about this, how difficult this aria, because the aria, just some minutes pass from the beginning of the opera and then boom, you have this aria. So I will let Nick talk about this. But for me, what was very, very interesting about this aria, I'm gonna quote Verdi's words. And for me is that it's a multi-dimensional character. He's very ugly with this hunchback, Rigoletto, and then, he doesn't sing the aria, but he's main character of this opera. But so he's ugly, but at the same time, the character is beautiful. So for me, in this sense, this opera, I love the characters of Verdi being multi-dimensional. Now, so Verdi had the director saying, so are you gonna present a character that is, this character that is strange? And so he said, to me, there is something really fun in representing on stage this character, outwardly so ugly and ridiculous, and inwardly so impassioned and full of love. I chose the subject precisely because of those qualities. And if these original features are removed, I cannot write the music. I tell you frankly that good or bad, my music is not just written casually for any situation. I try to give it a character appropriate to the drama. Now, in Questa Quella, of course, Questa o Quella aria is sung by the Duke, and now I'll give the floor to famous Nick.
It's such an interesting opera, and for 1850, this was a real breakaway for Verdi. He was attracted, as Andrea says, to the character of Rigoletto, Triboulet in the original play by Victor Hugo, and Verdi changed the name so it would sound a little bit more Italian. And since it takes place in Mantua, he wanted it to have a kind of an Italian ring to it, the name Rigoletto, as opposed to Triboulet. But it's based on history, that there was this hunchbacked jester who was a servant of one of the kings of France, King Francis, Francois the First. And Francois went through every woman in his court, and he was famously awful and acted not like a royal person should act at all, but more like a commoner. And when Victor Hugo wrote the play based on this history, it was condemned, and in fact it was banned. It wasn't able to be watched. And so when Verdi picked it up, he had real trouble with the censors in Venice, because they're saying, no, you cannot portray a king, a royal person, on stage like this. So Verdi says, all right, well, let's make him a duke instead of a king. And instead of in France, let's put him in the Duchy of Mantua and change his name. This is the Duke. What's interesting is the juxtaposition of these two characters. Rigoletto, who's so ugly on the outside and so beautiful on the inside, and the Duke, who is the exact opposite. He's beautiful on the outside and ugly on the inside. So this is the first thing he sings, and it happens within the first 5 minutes of the opera, but it's a relatively easy aria. I've coached this aria many times with young tenors. It is often a first Verdi aria for a tenor to sing. It's not really that difficult. It's not like walking on stage and within 3 minutes of Aida having to sing Celeste Aida if you're Radames. It's a completely different story. So this is much easier to approach. And I love the fact that Verdi insisted on calling this aria a ballata, a ballad, despite the fact that it has that typical saltarello rhythm. You know, it's that what's that scene from the wedding in The Godfather? Everybody's dancing like this, right? And the rhythm, bum ba bum ba bum ba bum ba bum ba bum ba bum. It's very Siciliano or saltarello. Not quite a tarantella, but it's a very popular Italian rhythm, and it's perfect for the Duke because it's so mundane. And I think Verdi is saying in a very real musical way, in a beautiful musical way, this character is nothing more than this. He's just this common character, despite the fact that he's a duke, he's minor royalty, he's really common on the inside. And then he sings this beautiful tune, Questa Quella. Yeah. So a ballata. And that's kind of a throwback to the fact that in earlier operas, the first thing that a tenor would sing would be beautiful, romantic, have long, beautiful phrases. This is the exact opposite of that. So again, it's like Verdi is saying, this is not your typical romantic lead. This guy's a creep. And it's a wonderful way of experimenting, I think, with the operatic formula that Verdi was given by Donizetti and Bellini and Rossini, and he's just tearing it asunder and saying, no, 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 this guy has to be, we have to portray him as earthy, creepy. He might be beautiful on the outside, he might have all the good tunes, but underneath something else is going on. So now we're going to listen, just like we did last week with O mio babbino caro from Gianni Schicchi. We're going to listen to a number of different tenors singing this aria. Number one, because it's short, so we can hear a lot of tenors, different voices approaching it. And number two, I think it's a great opportunity to just get to know one of the standard arias from the tenor repertoire just a little bit better. So who do we have first? Is it Caruso?
Yeah, so we're going to start with Caruso, with Enrico Caruso, and just want to say that that Caruso, they say, I never saw him, but that he used his whole body as a resonant body, so he could project his voice. I guess he was a very big guy. The pictures show that he was big. Mm-hmm. But I just wanted to comment that I was watching the Luciano Pavarotti class, like a class about Cuesta o Cuela.
A master class.
A master class. And he was saying that, okay, the rhythm is really fast, but so you have this rhythm that is fast and is like the pace of a horse, like you're saying. But then you really have to open your mouth and deliver and not have it inside. He was like saying to his singers, go out there and just open it and deliver. Don't never lose the moment to deliver.
Like a trumpet. The mouth has to be open like a trumpet. Just open up and
I
and
mean, it
fly.
looks so interesting to watch this masterclass. It's in YouTube if you guys look at it. It's just 7 minutes long, but just the singer changed immediately the way he sang. Anyway, so we're going
Also,
to,
what's interesting about this recording, it's from 1904. It is the earliest recording of Questa Quella.
okay, so let's present Caruso.
Questa quella per me pari solo a guardare d'intorno mi vedo del mio cuore l'impero non cedo meglio azzurra che ad altra beltà la costoro a vedere se qual dono di che il padre fiore la vita giusto di questa mi sembra gradita forse un'altra domani sarà un'altra domani lo sarà la campara tiranno del cuore detestiamo col morbo crudele con chi vuole si servi fedele nel valore se non va libertà dei mariti il geloso furore degli amanti le mani anche d'argo i tentacchi di fido se mi punge una qualche verità a mi punge una qualche verità
Wow, he did
Yeah,
it.
he pulls all that weight up. It's just remarkable. It's a heavier sound than I would typically expect to hear from a Duke, but it's still brilliant at the same time. Even though the recording is horrible, the audio is from 1904, but you can still appreciate the thickness and that golden quality of the voice. Also, interpretation, which I think is interesting. In the second phrase, he sings and slows down,
A lot, like a lot.
which nobody else does.
Oh,
They do it in the typical places, which happen later on, but he slows it down there. Also, I noticed something about the translation in the second verse: constancy, in other words, being faithful to a woman, is the tyrant of the heart. Let's detest it like a disease. Let's detest constancy like a disease. This is the kind of guy we're dealing with. I think Verdi gets it right.
yeah, he works in the psychology of the character.
Oh,
Here we are again. Yeah. Okay, guys. So now we're gonna have Alfredo Kraus. Very beautiful high range. Spanish tenor. And I don't know if you have something else to say about him. I think he had a very long career. He
Oh,
chose
yeah.
his roles really well, and he was not one of these tenors that would, sing and then fly to another place and sing. No, he was like very grounded, chose really well, and so he had longevity in his career.
From the Canary Islands.
Yeah, from Las Islas
Very,
Canarias.
very interesting character. Had a, like you say, a long career. I just find him a very elegant singer. I think that this is closer to the way the Duke should probably come off, despite the words that he's singing. It should be really beautiful, and Krauss makes that work. This is a sort of a strange looking excerpt. It's like that he gets called in the call box in his dressing room and then walks out on stage and sings it. It's very bizarre, but it's a good rendition, I think, of the aria. Let's see this.
Hey, let's put a Kraus.
Questo quella per me pari sono acqua e altri d'intorno mi vedo del mio cuore l'impero non cedo meglio ad una che ad altra beltà la costoro apparenza e quel dono di che il fato rifiora la vita soggi questa mi torna gradita forse un'altra domani sarà un'altra forse un'altra domani sarà la costanza tiranna del cuore detestiamo quel morbo crudele sol chi vuole si servi fedele non va no no se non v'è libertà de mariti il geloso furore degli amanti le smanie terrido anco d'arrigo i certocchi di sfido se mi punge una qualche beltà se mi punge una qualche beltà
I just think that's one of the most beautiful voices ever.
Yeah.
It has a really silvery quality, and the top is so easy, and everything is phrased elegantly. And so I think that's a really wonderful way of depicting the Duke. Again, despite the sort of ugly things he's saying about women, he sounds beautiful on the surface, and I think that's Verdi's point.
Yeah, and he elongates his high notes as long as he wants, no
But,
effort.
but there, it's okay. And where Caruso did it, it's not in the score, and it's so strange for me to hear. But maybe it was a tradition in those days, to do that. That with every high note, you can stay there as long as you want. But it just seems a little strange to me. But Krauss treats it, I think, with a little bit more taste. But yeah, where it's called upon to hold the note and make it ring,
Beautiful.
it's so effortless. Yeah, it's gorgeous, just gorgeous.
Okay, so now we're gonna listen to an American tenor, young tenor, I would say. He's 36 years old. So young, that's anyway, that's what I think he's young now.
That's young.
And for me, he's young, and very lots of expression, dramatic in a way, I don't know. You have to see him and tell me if I'm right. But I felt like a lot of intensity in his singing.
Who is it?
Fabiano, Michael
Oh,
Fabiano.
this is Michael Fabiano. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right. Very dramatic. I'd like to just have everybody listen to this guy. I heard him in a Bellini opera up in San Francisco a couple of years back, Lucrezia Borgia.
Uh-huh.
And he was just marvelous. He's also started an educational institute for young
I heard
singers.
in New Jersey.
He's really, really terrific. So yeah, let's listen to Michael Fabiano do
And
this.
he loves flying planes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Questa Quella per me pari sono a quant'altre d'intorno mi vedo del mio cuore l'impero non c'era venga luna che ad altra beltà la costoro avverenza è quella dono di che il fato l'ignora la vita oggi questa mi torna gradita forse un'altra domani lo sarà forse un'altra domani lo sarà la costanza tiranna del cuore detestiamo qual morbo crudele sol chi vuole si servi ferere non amor non ho se non v'è libertà de mariti geloso furore degli amarti le spagne ed erido ancora largo i cent'occhi di sfido se mi punge una qualche beltà a se mi punge una qualche beltà
well, that's the quality of voice that I would hire for the Duke. It's a younger man's voice. He's not carrying all of that heft, the baritonal quality that some tenors have. He's right. He's in the right fach, as I told you last week. That word, that voice type, I think, for the Duke. He would be brilliant as the Duke.
Yeah, I for me, I just feel that it's like this rocket that is like just going with this singer.
Yeah, there's no fooling around either. I mean, he plays this aria pretty straightforwardly. He doesn't fool around with it, which I like. He treats it, as a whole, and doesn't hold the notes too long. I mean, it's just he's got good taste, and I think the sound is just right for the Duke.
Good. Okay, guys. So now I chose this one because I just wanted to share a singer from my country. So this is a Mexican tenor, Rolando Villazón. You would remember him. He used to sing a lot with Ana Netrebko until he almost lost his voice. He had some very acute problems in his larynx. You say this like this? Larynx. Okay. And but he came back. He doesn't sing so much as he used to. He used to push a lot in some years when he was really, really famous, and he would never say no to anything. So he would push and sing and sing and push and push. But so now he's becoming more like a stage director, and he makes programs, and he's like a mentor for many Latin singers, but in Europe. So it's been very good for Latin singers. He works a lot in Salzburg, in the Salzburg Festival, and a lot in Germany. So let's listen to Rolando Villazón.
Questo quella per me pari sono a quant'altre d'intorno mi vedo nel mio cuore l'impero non c'è meglio ad una che d'altra metà la costoro a Venezia e col dono di che il fato e la vita oggi questa mi torna gradita, forse un'altra, domani lo sarà forse un'altra, domani lo sarà. La costanza tiranna del cuore che stiamo qual morbo crudele sul chi vuole si servi fedele non va amor se non v'è libertà dei mariti il geloso furore degli amanti le smanie derido anco d'argo i cent'anni di sfido se mi ponge una qualche beltà una qualche beltà
That's a promotional video for one of his albums. It's so clever.
I thought the video was brilliant.
It's very clever.
No?
And he's a terrific singer. He really is.
But
I
he has his
I
velvety
heard
kind of voice. And he has this velvety kind of voice, different kind of voice,
yeah. And I remember this is a studio recording. So, it's not on stage or in concert, so it's tweaked. But yeah, I mean the voice itself is really gorgeous. I first heard him in LA, and I think it was one of his first performances up there as Rinuccio in Gianni Schicchi.
Yeah.
And he was wonderful. Do you remember that? You were there.
I was there.
Yeah, and he was very young.
Yes.
Of course, I don't think he's over 50, is he?
No, he's not. He's
Yeah.
like 40 something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
I
gorgeous
talked
voice.
with Anna Netrebko in Romeo and Juliet, which was like super. He's very expressive. He's a very good actor.
Yeah.
And in Manon also. Yeah.
A very, very stylish singer, very accomplished. Really, that's a lovely sound. It's a little fuller than Michael Fabiano. Not quite as much of a point on it. It's a rounder sound to my ear. What do you think?
Yeah. No, me too. And so this is where the velvet comes in. It's more the voice is more velvety.
But isn't it interesting, everybody who's listening in on this call, how different each of these singers' approach is to the same notes, to the same character, to the same phrases. There's something a little bit different about each one, not just the color of their voices, but how they approach the aria is night and day. For instance, from Caruso to Villazon, or Caruso to Alfredo Kraus. I mean, just a completely different look.
Yeah, the timbre of the voice, which is I find it fantastic.
Yeah, it's wonderful. That's one of the great things about opera is being able to make these comparisons. I think is really revealing and helps us get to know the pieces a little bit better. Yeah, good. Who's next?
So next we have Piotr Bechala. He's a Polish singer. People say that he has this luminosity, this crispness in his voice. He's a very solid performer, like really, like he prepares, I don't know, like really good. He's very well prepared always, but also he has this crisp kind of voice. Let's see what you guys think. Oh, by the way, and this is the newest Rigoletto in the Met, the one that has neon lights.
The one that's in Las Vegas.
The one that is
the Las Vegas Rigoletto. Yeah, let's see this.
Yeah.
Questa quella per me pari sola guardare tre d'intorno vi vedo del mio cuore l'impero non cielo veglia d'una che ad altra beltà la costorra venente qual dono di che foto le fiamme questa mi torna gradita, forse un'altra, domani lo sarà un'altra, forse un'altra, domani lo sarà. La costanza tiranna del cuore detestiamo, qual morbo crudele. Sol chi vuole si servi fedele, non v'amor se non v'è libertà. De mariti il geloso furore, degli amanti le smanie, terrino, al codargo il cent'occhi di sfido, se mi punge, una qualche beltà. Se una qualche beltà.
He is so perfect. Now, we've had him here in San Diego twice. He was Rodolfo in Bohème, and then he did a recital for us after the crisis, so in 2016, I think, if I'm not mistaken, sometime around then. Wonderful, stylish singer, and that silvery voice. Yeah, I like the word crisp. I think that's absolutely right, Andrea. It has that crispness to it. It's interesting. I interviewed him when he was here for my podcast, and if you go back to our podcast page online, you'll find it when he was here for La Bohème, and he talked about how he started. He was working in a chemical factory.
Oh.
And the factories in Poland or Germany, wherever it was he was working, they all have choirs. All these big businesses, corporations and factories, they have choruses. And he was the head tenor in one of the choruses for this chemical company that he worked for. And he was so good. Somebody heard him and brought him out of the chorus, and the rest is history.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just amazing. And he was the house tenor, not Basel. What's the other big Swiss opera house? Zurich, yeah. He might even still be connected there, but he was the house tenor there, and he sang everything. And he's done now his first Wagner, he's done Lohengrin. Just a very smart singer, a very smart guy. We had a question from somebody in the chat about the Las Vegas look. Rigoletto is one of those operas that you can take liberties with in terms of its staging and not do any violence to the story at all. For instance, we did the LA Opera production that was staged in Hollywood, and so the Duke was a Hollywood mogul, and Rigoletto was his secretary. The famous production New York City Opera did, I forget the director's name, he just passed away not long ago, was set in 1950s Little Italy in New York, and it was done with a mafia background.
Okay.
And this Las Vegas look, it got pretty good reviews, and it just seemed to work. He's a Las Vegas lounge singer, or lounge lizard, and I think that fits for the Duke, the character of the Duke. But I have not seen the production, so I'm not even sure how Rigoletto himself is portrayed in it.
So I have seen it. And the thing that I didn't like was that Rigoletto was not a hunchback. So then this importance of the ugly character versus the beautiful character inside, you could not grab that. And that for me was a downer. But the production is really quite beautiful and engaging. So I'm just telling you this is my perception and how I felt. But the production, to see it, it's very engaging.
Yeah. No, I've not had the opportunity to see it, but it looks fascinating from this one scene. I rather like the Duke being portrayed this way because he comes off as being kind of sleazy. And yeah, that's absolutely right. He should be. That works for me.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, so we have another one yet to come. That's Jose Carreras, Spanish tenor. And as you know, he had cancer in his throat and he almost lost his voice. But Plácido paid Maestro Domingo paid his treatment, and he was saved from this, illness. And he said that his chordal voice chords were saved. So now we go to Jose Carreras.
Yeah, when I heard this, and I was choosing some of these, and I chose him. I didn't expect the weight of voice. I always thought of Carreras as having a lighter touch and a lighter sound, and this is before he got sick. This is
Yeah,
from
I think that's the reason.
and it's live, and
Yeah.
it's absolutely beautiful. Also, I don't know whether you noticed it, but I'll point it out to you. There's an ossia. There's an alternate way of doing that last cadence. Um, here, and he did every note of that alternate version
Yeah.
with no breath, without taking a breath. It was seamless, absolutely seamless. So not only a beautiful quality of voice, but the musicianship to be able to bring that off. I mean, most of the tenors that we've heard just go, hold the note, breath, breath. The difference is hold, up, a turn, and another turn, breath. And that's what Carreras did. It's brilliant technically, absolutely brilliant to be able to bring it off like that. It's pretty incredible.